looking at goal setting. Sorry, Reese did say to me, tell you, and I forgot. Yeah, so we're going to record this. Okay, let me continue. Okay, so today is about goal setting and really sort of taking next year by the horns and putting something in place. And I've been running the Grow Your Network sessions for a while now, and really, you know, the point of Cayman Connection is just to connect you guys, to connect you for whatever reason you want to be connected, whether it's for a little taste of home, or somebody that can help you with employment, or somebody that can help you find a cat. I think, Rita, you might have used before, to find a kitten. And it doesn't really matter. And sometimes it's just a little taste of a, you know, an island taste patty that keeps us all going for the next couple of weeks. But today, what we wanted to do is look at goal setting. I am a qualified business and personal coach. I'm ACC accredited with the International Coaching Federation, which means I have lots of ethics and rules to stand to and stick by. But one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about is growth and development of individuals. And so Rita and I thought it would be nice today just to do a session on why even bother constantly developing yourself, and how to do it with a little bit of fun and excitement. A bit of history for me is I run the wealth capability team in Coots. So we are, for those of you that don't know, we're famously known as the Queen's Bank. We're where all the wealthy footballers and movie stars and all that bank, but we're also where we have an awful lot of entrepreneurs, and we do a lot of business with high net worth clients. So I run training, and quite often what happens in training is that people feel like it's being done to them. You know, we go through school being taught things that we didn't really choose to be taught, and then we have to do exams, and then we have to choose more exams that we didn't really want to do, and then we get to university and we start to narrow it down a little bit. So we think, okay, now I'm specializing in something I like, and then we get a job, and then someone's like, you've got to go on a training program, and you're more training, and before you know it, you're like, oh my god, this is just being done to me all the time. So I want to look at today at really sort of reframing that and thinking, how can I set some goals, whether it's about learning or it's just about life, that actually you can get quite excited about. I'm going to say hello to Precious in a second when she's connected to audio, but for what I'm going to do now is share the screen. I am going to, hi Precious. Maybe in a minute. I'm going to share a screen. I know it's not ideal, especially if you're on a little phone, but I just want to show you some slides. If you've got a pen and a piece of paper, it could be really useful. Okay, but we can share the slides afterwards. Rita, did you want to mention about the coaching offer, or did you want to leave that to the end? We'll leave it to the end. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Hopefully you can all see this. So this is about goal setting for your future. Now, this can be anything. I obviously have a slight lean towards personal development, but it genuinely could be, I want to have £10,000 sitting in my bank account by the end of next year. Okay, we can do this. So the first thing we want to look at is, why would you even bother with goal setting? What's the point of doing it? And then we want to look at mindsets, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think, which is going to start to jog your brain on what's going to happen in 2022. And then we're going to look at how you can build a solid plan. So the first thing is, why would we even bother with goal setting? So George Bernard Shaw is a great friend of ours in learning, and he famously said, progress is completely impossible without change. So if you can't change and you can't adapt to change, you're not going to progress. And we saw this really prominently when COVID first hit. When you think about some of the businesses that survived and some of them that failed, those businesses that identified they needed to change quickly were the ones that succeeded. The ones that stuck in their ways and they wouldn't shift, they're the ones that tended to fail. And so I've got this mountain analogy at the bottom, and I use this quite a lot when people are looking at progression, particularly in the workplace, but just in life. Sometimes you'll feel like you're climbing up a mountain and you're doing really well. So you start down here, and as you start your career, or you start learning something new, or you start doing something, you do lots and lots and lots of it, and you fill your time with it, and you get rewarded. You might get a promotion, or you might get a pay rise, or you might get a new job, and and you keep moving up this mountain. And then you get to the bottom of the snow cap here, and you realize that there's only 7 days in a week, and there's only 24 hours in a day. And actually, there's just no more time to do more of what you're doing. And so what got you to the bottom of the snow cap is not what's going to get you over the top of it. So this is where we need to think about what got me here isn't going to get me there. And so this is when we start thinking about how can I change? How can I adapt? And what can I do differently? So to get over that snow cap and get to the top of the mountain, quite often we have to shift our perspective and we have to start doing something different to get over. So there might be something that you've been doing for years and it's been really working for you and really successful, but you just feel that you might have hit a bit of a block. You know, I'm just not moving forward, or I'm just not progressing, or do you know what, I'm just feeling a little bit flat, or I'm feeling a little bit like I can't be bothered. This is when we need to think, right, what can we do? How can we shift to get you over that line? So we need to think about change. That's really important for progress. One of the things you may have heard about before is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset is quite often where people are a bit resistant to change. They like the way things were. They didn't ask for change. They didn't want it. They keep doing what they've always done. They do what's familiar because that's all they know. And actually, they're quite limiting in their thought process because they stick to structures. They do what's been done before and they don't try new things. These people tend not to like breaking rules. And I think rules are there most of the time to be pushed a little bit. So pushing boundaries, what can we do differently? Where we really want people to journey is through the growth mindset to a benefit mindset. But really what a growth mindset is saying is, as a human being, I know I'm not fully formed. I know even when I'm 90, I'll still not know everything because it's just impossible. And I'll always have this open mind that will say, do you know what, I'm going to listen to you to learn your opinion and to learn your perspective, even though I could completely disagree with it. I'm going to listen to learn. I'm not going to listen to challenge you back, because in fact, you might know something that I don't, because I'm not fully formed and I'm not the expert in everything. So it's about that open-mindedness, but it's also about intention. And an intention to develop yourself, intention to do something different. And this is where goal setting comes in. I have an intention to move forward. I have an intention to do something different. I have an intention to achieve something by the end of next year or 5 years' time or whatever it is. And because of that growth and open mindset that you've got, and because you've got to focus on something that you want to intentionally do, you suddenly start to get this higher level of ability, and you start to see the world as this big open exploration of what could be out there. You know, we see things differently. We see things through a different lens, and actually we seek out different things because of this. The next stage from the growth mindset, and if we all get to a growth mindset, then we're winning at life. But the next stage is that benefit mindset, where actually, when you think about the world as it is at the moment, especially with COP26 that's just happened, and how we all need to start doing a little bit more for others, the benefit mindset is about doing stuff to benefit others. So it might be that you set a goal that of course benefits you, but actually in turn benefits others. So take a leader, for example. A leader might say, I want to go and do a master's in leadership. And they might say, I want to do a master's in leadership because it will look great on my CV. And I'll probably get a promotion from it. And it's my intention to do this. So that's very much growth. But actually they could say, I want to do it because I want to be a better leader. And I want the people who report to me to have a better experience of me. And if they have a better experience of their boss, then they're happier at work. And if they're happier at work, their families are probably happier. And if they're happier with their families, then suddenly the knock-on effect of me doing something to be a better leader has impacted not only the people in my team, but all their families and their friends. And they in turn might then do something. So it's about that global citizen. You know, how can I authentically do stuff that actually benefits others as well? So the benefit mindset is the moonshot. That's where we want to get to. That would make us a better society all around. But actually today we're just going growth. I'm happy with growth. So let's have a look at this. Right, this is an exercise. Have you got a pen and a piece of paper? You can come off mute. I want you to draw these 9 dots. Draw these 9 dots on a blank piece of paper, please. Okay. And what I want you to do is I want you to connect the dots using 4 straight lines. And your pen cannot leave the page.
Oh.
And the first person to do it can raise their hand. For the sake of the recording, I will time them because this will be really boring for somebody watching. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing because there's nothing more to see. It is 9 dots, it's 4 straight lines, and your pen can't leave the page. I'm going to give you 1 more minute. Pressure is on.
I think I got it.
You think you've got it? Yes. Okay. Right. Show us what you've got, Andre.
I'll maybe see it probably.
Give the man a medal. That is fantastic. Well done. Have you seen that before? Oh yeah, I can just about see it, Hadley. Did you go outside the box? You're on mute. Have you seen it before, Andre?
I remember seeing it before. I just couldn't remember what the actual thing was until like I just figured it out. So it took me longer than I would expect it. So, but I did seen it once before. I just didn't remember where.
Okay, for Lisa and Kim and Precious, I'm going to share my screen again. Well done, Hadley. I can see yours just about, although those blimmin' screens are useless for getting close up. Okay, so this is how it works. And interestingly, as Andre said, even if you've seen it before, unless you've seen it quite a few times, you do tend to forget. The whole purpose of this is that you immediately brought rules in. And I'm sure the first rule was that you couldn't go outside of those 9 dots. That's what you're thinking. So you're trying to stay inside the box. And this is where outside the box thinking comes from. So what we do as humans is from the age of 5, when we start to actually pay attention to other people, we start to put conditions in. And we start to put assumptions in our life. And so the first thing you probably did in that exercise was you assumed you weren't allowed to go outside of the 9 dots. But I didn't say that. I just said do 4 lines in a straight lines and don't lift your page. So when we look at goal setting, what we do is we're going to start looking at the assumptions that you bring to everything, the things that stop you doing it, because most of the time they're in our heads and that nobody's ever said them, or they might have said them years ago, but we've just gathered on all this baggage and we assume, which stops us moving forward and which stops us pushing ourselves. Does that make sense? Do you feel relieved to have seen the answer? Yes, somewhat. Okay, frustrated. Right. So the first thing we think we need to do when we're trying to come up with a goal of some sort is think, and this might be a bit profound, but what is my life's purpose? What is the point of me? Why am I on this planet? I mean, it could get really deep. Why are we all on the planet? But actually, we know that if you can connect to something on a deep enough level, then it becomes important to you. And if it becomes important to you, you are more likely to achieve it. So you can sit there and you can come up with 1,000 goals that would impress other people. It could be that they impress your parents, or they impress a peer, or it's what your boss has told you should be doing. But actually, if it's not something that you really care about, you're going to lose interest pretty quickly. So one of the things we ask you to do is think about, and this is going to be hard for some of you because you're a long way off, think about being at your 80th birthday party. Okay. You're a very, very long way away from that. I'm not so much. You're at your 80th birthday party and you are allowed to bring anybody you want to this party. So it can be friends, family, all your loved ones, and even people that have passed away, you can bring to this party. And they're all there to celebrate your 80th. And what I want you to think about is if 3 people stood up and spoke about you to everybody else in the room, what would they say? What would they say that you brought to their life, to society? To the community around you, to your family, to your friends? And if you can start to tap into what that is, then you can think, am I on track for that? Or am I losing my way a little bit? I'm just going down a hamster wheel that's not really getting me anywhere. And actually, I always wanted to do this, but now I'm focusing on that. So that's a really good exercise for you to sort of take away and have a little think about. Who do I want to be? And am I being that person? Or am I going in the right direction for that? And if I'm not, why not? The other thing we do when we talk about purpose is when we were little, most of us wanted to be something. You could have wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be a doctor, but I always wanted to be a doctor. And I had one of these awful career programs that I filled out. And basically I answered all the questions saying that I wanted to be a doctor. And at the end it said, you should be a doctor, which was useless. But nobody told me that I had to have chemistry A-level to be a doctor. So when I came out of my A-levels and I wanted to go to medical school, they said, well, you can't because you have biology and maths and you don't have chemistry. So I couldn't be a doctor. But it's still in me. You know, when you see all these people volunteering and doing stuff, I think, oh, do you know what? There's something burning inside. I don't want to go to medicine school now and become a doctor. But we all have that thing. It could have been that you wanted to be a fireman when you were 5, and then someone said, well, you can't because you're a girl, or you can't because you're too short, or nobody will ever take you on here, or they don't hire people like you. And so you kind of dismiss it. And from 15, 16, 17 onwards, whatever, you just do what comes next. What is that thing that you wanted to do? What is that thing that you keep walking past and going, oh, do you know what? I've always wanted to learn to surf. Or I've always wanted to know how to bake bread. Or I've always wanted to, I don't know, go to Timbuktu, go to the Galapagos. Whatever it is, whatever's in there inside you, let it out. And that's what we want to be thinking of. That's what purpose is all about. Because if we do something we really care about, we'll actually really want to do it. Okay, so think about your purpose. Now, when we reflect on this, and you can answer these questions in front of you now, if you can write them down. or you can just think them through. So the first thing I want you to think is, what do you really enjoy? Like what just makes you happy? And if somebody said to you, we're going to do this today, you'd be like, oh, literally best day ever. And then think about, what are you really passionate about? What do you care about? What will you get quite animated about if you start talking to someone about it? What interests you? You know, what's out there? You go, do you know what? I just need to know more about that. Or actually, I've got a really strong opinion on that, and I'd like to get involved in that more. So think about what do you enjoy, and also what are you interested in? When I did my coaching qualification, they sent me 10 pages, 10 A4 pages of a reading list. And I literally nearly cried. I thought, there's no way I'm going to read all these books. I don't have time to go to the toilet. I've got 2 children. I've got a full-time job. I've got 100 other things to do. I'm not going to read 10 pages of books. But the first book I picked up, I started reading it, and I nearly finished it in a night, because I suddenly found something that I was genuinely interested in, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't put it down. I really wanted to know the next thing. So really try and tap into that. Get it out of your gut. What do you enjoy? And what are you interested in? What are you passionate about? And then I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I know for some of you, be like, ugh, close my eyes. Just close your eyes for a minute and think. I'm going to ask you, what do you really want? What do you want? When you know what you want, and be honest with yourself, I'm not listening to you. Nobody's listening to you. I mean, it could be, you know, I want to win Strictly. It could be anything. I don't care. It's whatever you want. Because it's your goal, and it's your thing that you want. And it doesn't matter what anybody else in the world thinks about it. It's up to you. So what do you want? And then I want you to think, if that's what you want, what could your goal be right at this minute? Oh, have I just lost my screen? I've lost my screen. Okay. Bear with me. Let me get my screen back. Here we go. Right. So what would your goal be? Here we go. And it's just at this point. Okay. So if you wanted to learn how to bake bread, or you want to run your own bakery, the first stage is actually, I'm just going to go and explore bread making. Maybe I'm going to have a lesson in baking bread. And then the next question, this is from someone called Nancy Klein, who basically says, once you've got your goal, you sit and you look at that goal. And again, this is your honesty to yourself. And you say, what are you assuming that's stopping you achieve this goal? What are you assuming? I did this on somebody recently who was having a horrible time at work, and they wanted to retire. And they would be retiring sort of 5 years early, and they were really unhappy. And I said, what are you assuming that's stopping you retire? And he said, I'm assuming I need to earn money. I'm assuming I need to support the family. And we explored that, and he worked out that he could actually stop. And he resigned the next day. Because sometimes we put these assumptions in, we stop each other going outside of those 9 dots because we think we've been told not to do that. So think about what it is you enjoy, what interests you, what do you want, what's your goal, and then what are you assuming that's stopping you do this? What stopped you doing it in the past? Did someone tell you girls can't be firemen? Did someone said your bread's terrible, never make it again? Did someone said you can't dance, do not go on Strictly, you can't do it? So I want you to think of all those things and then think, what can I do that's outside the box? What do I do that I've not done before? What can I do that's different to what I've always done? Because remember, we say, you know, with change, you have to be able to, with progression, you have to understand change. So what can you do that's outside of those 9 dots? I'm going to stop the share for a minute, and I'm going to see if anybody would like to share their goal or some insight into what they were thinking. You don't have to, because it's very personal. But if anybody has anything they would like to share, I would love to hear it.
One of my major goals is to have my own home and set it up and have my own space, which I am working towards, but it's just a waiting game now. And I am a bit frustrated because of delays with construction and whatnot. Even though that goal is still very much achievable, it's just been delayed and it's really testing my patience. So having to live and work with that when it's so close.
Yeah, and what might help is a bit of a reframe. So rather than thinking I'm sitting waiting and there's nothing I can do, think, what can I do? What actually can I do in this time? How can I make the best use of this time when I clearly can't make the construction go any quicker and I can't do anything about the uncontrollables, but what can I control? And then what can I do with that? And then you feel like you're making some progress.
Yeah.
Hadley, were you due to come off mute? Was he hidden completely?
Sorry, what was that?
I wondered it. I thought you were coming off mute. I didn't know if you were.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Anybody else want to share a goal that's coming through for them?
Like, I guess short term for me, just to complete my studies. But for long term, I'll say it's, for me personally, I want to be someone. I just want to become someone that other people can look up to, and also ask to like mentor them. So I like to be able to mentor people.
That is fantastic. Have you signed up to our Mentor Connect program?
I'm new to Cayman Connection. I think.
We would love you.
Oh, perfect.
Andre, look at that segue.
Right time.
So Andre, we have just launched a program. Well, it's actually due to launch formally in the new year, where we are pairing up mentors and mentees. And we're looking for people to just work with others in any way, actually. So we would love you to do that if you're interested.
Yeah, so how would I get? I guess I ask passwords. And I don't want to like.
We've got a link, haven't we? I think Kim or Rita can help. Brilliant. Hi, Jared. Hi, King. We've got a couple of others. Gabriella, you've kind of come in partway through, but we've got a bit of a session that's coming that might help you. So this very last slide, we've just been, just for your purpose, guys, we've just been looking at how to even focus on a goal. Why do we even bother looking at goal setting and what it can mean to us? This very last slide is much more tangible. So this is going to give you something that you can get your teeth into. And going back to what I was saying to Kimberly, sometimes we have to hold it lightly. And this is a sentence that we use quite a lot in coaching. When I say hold it lightly, I always sort of do this with my hands. And what I mean is genuinely, like, if we grip onto things too tightly, then we can't always see another perspective. We literally just grab onto what we know, what we understand, and what we can do. But actually holding it lightly is going back to exactly that point about you can't control the uncontrollables. Okay. You can't control how people behave. You can't control how quickly construction works. You can't control when that next job application is going to come to you, or you can't control those things. Anything you can ever control are your controllables. So what we want you to do is really start to think about when you're goal setting, don't think about something that you have no control over. You know, try and reframe it in what can I do to make a nudge. And I don't know if you've heard of nudge psychology before, but nudge psychology is about taking baby steps, just a little nudge to get you to do something. A really good example of nudge psychology is on the escalators in tubes or in shopping centers, where people get on the escalator and they stop, and then there's a big old queue on the escalator. And what they've done on some escalators is they've painted 2 feet on one side, and then on the other side they've painted feet on each step. So one side makes it look like you need to walk, and one side makes it look like you stand. That is a nudge that just takes you one direction. And what I want you guys to think about when you're setting your goals is, if you were to get in a boat in Southampton, if you were to get in a big old ship in Southampton, and you were to put the coordinates in for Georgetown, okay, and you're heading to Georgetown, but along the way you go 1 degree off target, okay, maybe as you're going past the Canary Islands, 1 degree off target, and suddenly you don't end up anywhere near Cayman. You do that. So 1 degree shift in behavior or 1 degree nudge in your goal setting can take you in a completely different direction. So exponentially. This is what I want you to think about when you're thinking about how you can change and how you can progress and how you can do something going forward. So I'll just share this last screen with you. And this is how we can really tap into your growth mindset. So what we say is, grab your moonshot, grab your vision, your goal. So Kimberly, for example, you know, you want your own home, you want your space, you want your life, you want your living. Andre, you said you want to just be someone that people can look up to. I mean, that's a lovely, lovely vision. So take it and stretch it. So where do I want to be in 5 years' time? You know, Kimberly might be like, I want to have sold that house. I want to have bought 3 more, make sure I've got a swimming pool and a canal. Thank you very much. You know, that could be the moonshot. Put your stake in the ground. Okay, that is the dream. It's not always easy. People don't always see a dream, but it's, if you can come up with a dream, then that's your long-term goal. And we know that people that create long-term goals rather than goals at the end of their nose, people create long-term goals, they're more likely to succeed, because they keep looking up when things go wrong, and they keep looking up and going, it's all right, my goal's still there. Think about when you're trying to lose weight. If anyone's ever tried to lose weight, if you have a bad day and you eat lots of chocolate and you eat lots of cake, if you just went, oh, well, that's it, I'm just going to give up and I'm never going to try again, it wouldn't work. But if you know that your long-term goal is that you just chip away at it little by little. So find your vision, find your dream. It could be that you want to retire at 35. It could be that you want to, you know, be governor of somewhere. You want to take it, you want to build your own business. It doesn't matter. Put that stake in the ground and put that as your flagstone. That's where you're heading. And then think, does that align to the person I want to be? When we think about your purpose, is that who I actually want to be? Then you think about, right, if I need to get there, take my fireman analogy. If I really wanted to be a fireman, where are my gaps? And I'll tell you, there's probably quite a few. But I'd need to research. I need to understand what my gaps are. So what do I need to do in the next 5 years, for example, to become a fireman, or firewoman, fireperson? So I need to go and find that out, and I need to understand where I sit and where they sit and what the difference is. So, you know, for Kimberly, what can you do? You can't move those construction workers along quicker, but maybe there's other things you can start to do in place. So what are you lacking? What can you go and do to make a difference? The other thing when it comes to progression that's really, really useful, there's something called radical candor. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It's a woman called Kim Scott she's an American. And she's brilliant. And she talks about radical candor as in getting feedback. So one of the things we suggest you do if you're looking at progressing is go and speak to somebody you really respect. It could be a line manager, it could be a boss, it could be a mentor, it could be somebody in your family. And say to them, what's one thing that would make me better? What's the one thing I could do that would make me better in 2022, for example? Because they're doing it because they'll care. They want you to be better. And once you've understood where your gaps are and what people think you can do better, because remember, everyone's Everyone's perception is different. So you might think you're absolutely smashing it somewhere, and someone else will be, oh, you know, stop sending me the really long emails because they're just boring. Complete your matrix, understand what you're missing, and then look to work on that. And then look at your strategy. What's your to-do list? What have you got to do to be a fireman in 5 years' time? What do you have to have done in 3 years' time or 2 years' time? And what baby steps can you take in the next 6 months? It doesn't have to be seismic. You don't, Andre, you don't have to be someone that people look up to in the next 2 months. Otherwise you failed. You know, this is a long-term goal. But what can you start putting in place to get there? And then really it's just about setting your plan in place and saying, right, what are the few things that I can do today? What are the things that I can say I will do by the end of 2021? I'm going to have looked up what it takes to be a fireman. I'm going to see what qualifications you need. I'm going to see if there are any jobs in the area, and I'm just going to explore it a bit. That could be mine. Is it stretching enough? Do they align to that original vision? Do they keep you on track to that goal? And that's really what we would ask you to do. And this is obviously done towards learning and growth of your abilities. But do you know what? It's for anything. Any goal that you want, if you take these 4 simple steps, think of that vision, look at the gaps, write your to-do list, and then shrink it down into a little plan that's achievable, stretching, but achievable. And you will find yourself nudging forward in that 1 degree shift. And you will start to see things change and start to see things happen for you. So that is the end of the slides. I'm very conscious we've only got 15 minutes left. Rita, did you want to mention the offer today?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Claire. That was really useful, eye-opening. This is recorded, everyone. Also, if you want to return to this particular meeting, if you came in late or you weren't able to get everything down and you want to go through these exercises. So we will have this up on the website by the weekend, and you can take a look at it again and also share it with other people who you think might benefit from it. Thank you, Claire. It kind of gives us just a little taste of how you work with people also. And we wanted to use this final virtual yard meeting with you to give at least one person an opportunity to work one-on-one with you for an hour. Hence the prize, right? Obviously, all of you can be in touch with Claire, separately if you're interested in coaching with her. Claire Foy Barefoot Coach. Yeah. And right now, what we want to do is for those of you who are interested in the opportunity to possibly win 1 hour with Claire, one-on-one session, private, complimentary coaching, if you would just enter your names into the chat, and you'll be assigned a number in the order that you put your names in. So the first person to put their name in the chat will be number 1. Second person will be number 2, so on and so forth. And I've written up a couple of, these are very, very, very homemade, very, very homemade little Post-its here. You'll be assigned one of these, and then I'll drop them into my lucky hat. It's actually my lucky tam from my grandmother. I was telling Claire earlier. It's my Christmas tam, and I've had it for a few years. It's very worn, but I'll drop it in here, and then we'll pull a name, and one person will be able to leave with that today to get you started on your own journey, or to help you continue it. Perhaps you're partway there. So if you would be interested in this 1 hour with Claire Foy Barefoot Coaching, please add your name to the chat right now. We'll give everybody a second here. Look at that right away. So Jared is number 1, Gabriella is number 2, King number 3, Samantha number 4, Precious number 5, Andre number 6, Kimberly number 7. Yes? Is everybody good? Do we have everyone in? Have we added any others? I'm going to just...
While Rita's doing that, does anyone have any questions?
I have a question about one of the slides you had.
Yeah.
About the slide with you talking about like what is your purpose?
Yes.
So you mentioned like, I guess you give them a hypothetical kind of scenario of what people will say if you was to ask them, or what you think they'll say about you.
Mhm.
So well, I wasn't sure this was the best that I did in terms of that, because I did ask a few close friends of mine what they thought about me. This is probably like a good while back, just so I can sort of evaluate myself.
Mhm.
I'm not sure that was probably the best way to, how I did it was the best way to do it. I just asked directly because I just thought it would have been, easy, but I felt like it was sort of, their responses were sort of biased, since they're my friends, so they wouldn't give me like a truly honest
Mhm.
opinion how they think of me. So I don't know if there's a good way of doing it. You should do it anonymously, or you shouldn't really, actually
got-
physically do it.
So there's 5 questions you can ask. It's called the 5-question, interestingly, the 5-question tool. Or ask 5 people, we actually call it. And we ask you to send these 5 questions to people, and the way they're phrased is quite directive, so they will be much more honest in their feedback. I can put these in the chat, but for now it's, what one word or phrase describes me best? What do you think is my greatest achievement? What do you value most about me? What one thing could I change for my own benefit? And what do you believe is my greatest strength? And in life, we are all good. So we have strengths, and then we have strengths overplayed. So they're weaknesses. So if I'm very chatty, under pressure, I get really chatty, a little bit too much. And people are like, oh my God, you talk too much. Everything we do should be strength-based. So those 5 questions will pull out your big strengths, but it will also tell you the one thing that you can do to really benefit yourself. And all they're doing in that is they're just saying, sometimes you might need to look after yourself a little bit more. You might need to do this, or you might need to tone it down, or you might need to speak up a bit more. You might need to, be the first one to talk in a room rather than last. And so those 5 questions really do pull out some really nice answers. So I'll tell you what, I'll put them in the slides, or no, I'll send them to Rita maybe, and we can put them on the site. They're really useful. So try that, Andre.
Thank you so much.
Does anyone else have any questions or want to make a comment, or maybe you came in late and you were kind of, interested in something specific for this session, but you weren't able to take advantage of the first half an hour?
I have a question. So let's say you want to do a lot of things, right? You want to serve the community, you want to be a leader, and okay, manageably, you have to goal oriented things. Because these things can all happen within a time frame, not all at once. How do you tell a young person who wants to achieve a lot within a short space of time, because you get old just like that? Like, how do you tell them, like, to manage the things that they want to do if it's going in the right direction?
I think she got disconnected.
Yeah, I think she's just, she'll pop back on. Okay, wonderful.
Back on. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you have children and they come home from school and they start playing on all their bloody games. You lose signal. Apologies for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Do I have to repeat it again, or?
I'll interrupt you for this commercial.
I think I'm back. Sorry.
What's going on?
Okay. Any more questions?
Did you get my question or?
Jared,
Didn't
actually
Jared,
has a
sorry.
question. Yes.
Yeah, so basically what we're asking was that what advice would you give to someone like they have a goal plan, but like they want to achieve it all within like a short space of time, as opposed to achieving it at a older age, not putting down any age people. But yeah.
You're breaking up a little bit. So you've got a goal that you want to achieve.
It's okay. I'll ask Miss Vida the
Oh, that's it. I
question.
can hear you now.
I had to repeat it more than once, and it kind of, yeah. I'll wait. I'll defer it to another time with Miss Vida.
Why didn't you try? Why email it to me, Jared? Well, I'll give you my email address. Yeah, I'll put my email address in here, and then anyone's got any questions, you can. There you go. You can all take that email address and ask me any questions you like, and I'll try not to break up.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. It's okay. Have you done the pulling out the hat yet?
I haven't done the pulling out. I want everyone to see me putting in before I pull out the hat. And we have 8 persons. Is that correct? 8 persons. Yes. Did I get that right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes.
Okay. So these, I've done 8. There's my trusty hat. It is a lucky hat, by the way. It's really, really, really lucky. I'm serious. It's a magical hat. So here, 1 going in, 2 going in, 3 going in. We're going to make an event of everything. 4, 5. There we go. 6. So I don't get an FOI request. 7 and 8. All right. This is a very special 1-hour session, as you can tell. We have number 3.
What you saying to me? Yes, sir.
Oh, is it King Navasa?
You damn right. Hi. I tell you what though, you can beat to somebody else.
Say it again.
You can give it to someone else if they really want it though.
Oh, well,
listen,
everybody
why don't know
it.
you won, so we'll do it with King. But listen, if the rest of you really do want a session, I'm more than happy to offer each of you an hour.
How much do you charge?
It won't be before Christmas because I'm pretty full, but I'm very keen to work with all of you and help you. So if you do want to do that, send me a little email, and I can set something up. But King, you are the winner. You get an hour with me. You lucky man.
I love you, Claire. I just feel guilty because I came in so late, eating, watching Strictly Come Dancing. I'm like,
Which is exactly why you need me.
Right, it's non-transferable and has no cash value.
That is wonderful. Claire, thank you so much. That means a lot. We've enjoyed, I mean, I can speak for myself, really enjoyed your session today. I'm sure everyone here really got something out of it. It was an hour, but it was chock full of information, important information. And also want to make a mention here, just because I see it coming up. Besides this particular session, we have a program, and we kind of alluded to it earlier, a mentorship program that has just begun. And Kimberly has put the actual link in the chat where you can get a little more information if you want to be a mentor or a mentee. I see Lisa's interested in mentoring. So it's brand new. We're still developing it as such, but we plan to launch it in the new year. So if any of you are interested in being a part of it, either as a mentee or mentor, or as both, because you can participate as a mentor and as a mentee, do let us know. The information is in the chat, and we are sending out information regularly also on email through our newsletters. But Claire, thank you so much for your session today with us. Thank you for the offer of 1 hour coaching with each of the persons on this chat who are interested. Congratulations, King, to officially winning the draw from the hat. And if anyone wants to just say anything before we close out here, we have about 3 minutes. Anything you want to say to Claire about the session, what you got out of it, if you'd like to see more sessions like this in the future, what might be useful for you, please do so right now. We have a couple of minutes to do that.
As I said, I came late, but I liked what I pitched into. Very well done again. I agree with Gabriella. I liked the session. Claire, you sure you can't squeeze me in before Christmas? I got some major happening. I got lots of thinking time.
I can squeeze you in before Christmas, but not everybody else.
Okay, I will text you after, because I have lots of thinking time, and
Brilliant.
I would like to get, let's have a coach session. Oh, I'm excited now. Thank you. All right, I'll shut up now.
My pleasure. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire, for putting this on. I think, it's something that everybody can benefit from. And I definitely feel like it ties in nicely with that mentorship program, because to be a mentor or to even be mentored, you have to also be in the right mindset and have that capacity to be in a situation in which you can give advice or even take advice. Because a lot of times we have these walls built up where we feel uncoachable and we feel as if we can't make any progress. So this definitely puts things into perspective and gives you room to reflect on yourself and how to be a better person. So thank you.
Sorry, can I just say that I'm interested in being a mentor and training to do that, because I've been approached by, I'm a wedding and event planner, and sometimes I get approached from new planners that ask me to mentor them. And I usually just give them advice on how to run their business or assist me, but it would be nice to know how to do it in a professional way, rather than kind of I'm trying to structure my own program that suits them. But if there's a way that you show people how to be a good mentor, I'd be interested in finding out.
Yeah, I think that's a great area to be in as well, in this space of the world where everybody is trying to get into organizing events, and especially something as grand as a wedding. A lot of people don't realize what it takes to be in that type of field. So I think a lot of people would benefit from that for sure. So check the link out. There's information in there where you can read up about the program, how we plan to execute it, as well as you being able to add your own personal information, and then just share basically what you just shared with us in terms of how you'd like to add and encourage other people in whatever form you can.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and then
thanks.
it'll give you an option to add your email as well, and that way we can add you to the database and just keep tabs and send information as it comes along. And the same with you, Andre. So thank you both for sharing and expressing your interest. And anybody else who would like to be a mentor, that link is there, and feel free to reach out to any of us.
And share it.
Yeah. Share it with people who you think would benefit from it, in the sense of being a mentor or being a mentee, or both. There's a lot that we can learn from one another, and it's just a matter of enhancing that learning through word of mouth.
Great, thank you. Thanks, both. Thank you, Claire.
My pleasure. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just
Thank
for
you,
those
everybody.
No, so sorry, I'm Claire. Just want to, Kimberly is our Mentor Connect lead, just for you to understand her relationship with the program. And Claire is also working with Kimberly on this particular program of Cayman Connection. The website is going to have a little bit of a rewrite and a little bit of a revamp over the weekend. So you will notice a few changes if you look at it today and you return to it, say Monday. But nothing essential. All of the links and everything will still be the same. It's just a little bit of the content will change. And we will be matching people as they come in. So Lisa, we would be working, anyone that we find that has an interest in your area, we would then get in touch with you and we would start matching as people come in.
Don't match me at no border.
What are you talking about? You'd be the perfect match for anybody.
Thank you. Thank you
Lord.
so much. I see Jared left and he's returned. We are just over the 7 o'clock hour. Unless there's a burning comment or question, we are going to close off the session now. Claire will say her Merry Christmas to everyone, and then we will.
Well, I have to go feed my children. So we'll be banging on the door if I don't go now. But really, really lovely to meet you all. Thank you so much for joining today. You've got my email address. Keep in touch. King, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, I got you know.
We've got. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you all.
Everyone.
Take care. Have a good one.
Good night.
No.
Bye-bye.